Hi, David Odell with Odell Complete Concrete. Today what we're going to be doing is a little DIY pad underneath this gazebo. The homeowner set up the gazebo. He put some little pads underneath the legs to kind of level it up, but I wanted to double check it. So I'm setting up the laser level. I'm going to make sure that all those pads are level before I put concrete around everything. Also, on this particular job, we had a really bad load. The first concrete load that came out here was like water. There was no gravel, it was just colored cement water. So that one had to go back. We got the second one. It went to the other extreme. It was like a dry pack, so it was like a hot load, but you're gonna see all that throughout this video. It was actually for a DIY project like this, that made it more challenging than it had to be for sure. Plus, it made a lot longer day out of it. I brought my little mini skid and I had to raise up a pad. I actually adjusted all of them. Plus, I lined them up, you know, because I wanted them to be straight in line with each other. That way, when I ran joints, so I'm going to do double banded joints off of these, you know, all the way around, kind of like a picture frame. So I wanted all these to be lined up perfectly. I mean, I considered steel stakes, nailing it to this structure and pouring around those and then pulling the steel stakes and hope it stayed there. It was a little risky. This was the safest way to do this operation right here without completely disassembling this thing. And I didn't really want to do that. Today was a rather windy day also, very windy, probably about 30-mile-an-hour winds. So I was also concerned with this thing just blowing away. My tractor was just tall enough to lift this off the pads to level it up. So now we're just pulling the lines, making sure those pads are straight, banging them around. I have a nice rubber mallet that I was banging them on. I mean, if I used a sledgehammer or anything steel, could have cracked those little pads. But if you don't have a rubber mallet, what you can do is put a 2x4 against it, hit the 2x4. I did that too a little bit. Also, what I did, since I had my laser level out, I shot the existing patio. There is a swimming pool going in this backyard eventually, and a pool deck around it. So what I did is I shot the existing patio because I wanted to see the elevation of this and compared to the patio and future pool height. So I know the pool height or pool deck is going to be either level with the existing patio and then probably channel drains all the way around, or it could even have a raised bond beam. So the laser level, what it told me is that the way he had these pads set, we're about 2 inches higher than the existing patio. Now, if the pool deck's lower, it's either going to be a ramp down from this gazebo to the deck, or it could be a step down. So I chose to just be on the safe side here. I'm going to double stack 2x4s here and face the front. So that way they have an option. They could either step it down or ramp it down, either way, and you still have a nice face on this thing. This is 4 yards of concrete going in here. And I am pouring it a little on the deep side. Whenever I get under a full load, which is usually 10 cubic yards, if I can make it with one load, regardless of the depth, I'll just do that. But if I can't make it with one load and I can make it if I bring base in, then I'll do that. Because I think thicker concrete is always better than thin concrete on base. So thick concrete is always a solution to any subgrade, especially when you got some steel reinforcement in there. So we squared this up right on the gazebo. We kind of lined up on the side of we went with the block wall here, kind of went off of that and squared everything off of that. So we're trying to get some water in here to make it compact, run the plate compactor over it. If you don't have a plate compactor, you can hand stomp it too. Get some kind of a manual stomper and just pound it down. That works as well. It's more physical labor, but you know, if you don't have the equipment, don't worry about it. You can just pound it down with a piece of plywood and a 2x4 and just brute strength. Now, as far as raising this up and leveling it, surprisingly, the homeowner was able to do this. He shifted the whole thing over. Initially, it was set up way to the left. He said, well, I kind of want it over here in the middle of the yard. And he ended up moving it. He moved it off of 2 different foundations until he got it here. And he did it all with just jacks and little like pipes, 3/4 inch pipes, and he just rolled it. Here we are, day 2. Got the wire mesh in. We got the plastic wrapped around. Everything's leveled up. All the post base leveled and squared so we can joint, you know, on them and create those bands. Then I just got done oiling all the forms with some motor oil and diesel fuel mixture. And I gotta haul it all back here with this little unit. Modified custom bucket. Went from this size to this size, so much larger. Just grease this baby up so that way when concrete splatters filling it, I can just hose off the residue pretty easily that way. It's just a matter of waiting for concrete to arrive, and it should be here shortly. Concrete has arrived. Party time. Look at this load. Look what I got on my and this was, I believe he was about an hour late. So we had a 9 a.m. I think he got there about 10 a.m. So we're already an hour behind schedule. The wind gets stronger as the day gets longer around here. So I kind of wanted to get it, you know, knocked out before the wind hit. But it ain't gonna happen. Oh, they're sending another load right now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what the hell happened. We've had issues today.
The rock didn't go in the sand.
That's what it looks to me.
Yeah. So as I thought about that load, I was trying to determine what went wrong with it after calling dispatch and talking to the driver and everything. My final conclusion, I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but you guys can let me know what you think happened there. But what I think happened is there's too much water in the load, or the valve got stuck open. All the gravel and sand, I think, was in there. I think it was so wet that the gravel and sand settled at the bottom of the barrel and it couldn't push out. So all you're getting was water on that first load that you seen come out. Now this load here, it came so dry, I added about 60 gallons of water to 4 yards at this point. So it was the exact opposite of the first load. You know, what they could have done, if I had the other load still here, I could have mixed them together and it would have been perfect. Then I would have had an 8-yard load. But anyway, once we got the 60 gallons of water in here, I was able to kind of move it around. But you can tell it's really stiff still, which I don't mind. You know, the drier you put it down, the better. You're going to get a lot less chance of shrinkage cracks. So I'm using my 12-foot aluminum screed. So basically, it's just going to be me and my brother on this entire project. So I had to remove a form to get the tractor in. That's why I never underpinned it all the way, because I knew it was coming out. Here's the roller tamp going on. Got to finish the form work before I can dump the rest of the concrete in here. I put a nice coating of used motor oil on these forms right out of my truck. But I diluted it a little bit with diesel fuel. And you're gonna get a chance to see how nice it strips out too. On the face, when I get ready to strip this and face it, it comes away really clean. I didn't even need a hand float. I just went straight to a trowel on the face. Saved some time and effort. This stuff you see me spraying right now is a special chemical compound that, we need to dilute it. It comes in a 5-gallon bucket. It gets diluted about, I think it's 7-to-1 with water, and then spray it on here before you bowl float that solution in there. And what that does is it protects it from the wind. Now, if you didn't use that on a windy day like it is today, 35-mile-an-hour winds, what happens is the surface dries out before the base, and it actually separates from the rest of the concrete because it dries so unevenly, and you get a lot of little cracks on the surface. So with that chemical compound, the solution, the problem solved. It works too, because I've done it both ways, with and without, and you see the results. So this stuff's going off really fast, surprisingly, because, we are in high wind, but we've already cured that, so that's not really making this pop off. But what is making it pop off is the fact they brought it at about a 2-inch slump. So the whole drive over here, it's churning at a 2-inch slump. And what's surprising is that the driver wasn't like a little scared driving it, because when he backed in here, I could see it as the barrel spun and that load was so stiff, it was slapping the truck side to side. I was thinking, wow, it's lucky he didn't turn a corner and roll this thing the way that thing is getting thrown over with that dry load. But that's what's making it pop off. It got hot quick in that barrel at a 2-inch, and a lot of times what happens is it's hard to get water into it at that point. It wants to reject the water. So that's why we had to add all that water to it. I got a little clean out pit that I dug right here. I did oil this bucket as well with the same solution that I used on the form lumber. So it cleaned off really nicely. This particular gazebo, it's cedar wood, which is a good outdoor wood. You don't really have to do anything to it. It just kind of grays out naturally, and then it's pretty impervious to everything. Here's some joints going in. We're gonna go both directions off of every corner of those posts. Gonna make it look kind of decorative and planned. Right here, I noticed a little low point on the face of that form. So I put a little concrete in there, worked it in with the hand float. These joints that come off the post base out towards the edge Those joints are going to have to continue down the face to really make it look complete. So that's what we'll do. We're going to be doing that here pretty shortly. This looks to be about right to face right now. Pull that form off. So we're getting close to that moment of truth. So they were thinking, the homeowner, when I was talking to them initially on about this particular project, on the finish, you know, whether it be a broom, a stamp, color, whatever, we just kind of kept it simple. This is just going to be a broom finish. But what may happen in the future when the pool deck and the pool goes in, they may put like a cool deck on the pool deck, and they're going to probably take it right on over this concrete as well, possibly. But because this turned out so nice, and you'll see it at the end, they may rethink that pool deck or that cool deck coating entirely and just stick to this particular design all the way through. All right, here it comes. If you pull those off too early, it could sag on you. And then once that happens, you're gonna probably see it. If you don't put the form back up against here and push it back up and leave it for a bit, you're gonna always see a little sag on that edge. So my timing was pretty good here. It didn't really sag off on me. So from the moment the concrete truck got here, it was non-stop. A lot of times you'll get a pause in between your lay down and then going into your finish work. But in this case, it was just go, go, go. Here's my top tool, which is kind of nice to have. You can do it with just an edger. The top tool just makes it a little bit nicer, a little bit easier. On the joints for the face, I just banged them in. I used my hand joiner, and then I had a hammer, and I hit the hand joiner and drove it right into the face. You could use a flat steel stake and bang those joints in, at least bang the rocks back and then clean it up with the joiner. But I just went straight for the gold, you know, and just bang the joiner right in. If it was harder, the concrete, I would have had to go with the steel stake. Otherwise, I would have damaged my joiner. But here's the next day, and I'm stripping it right now. And I did spray a curing compound on this as well. So a lot of chemicals going on in this process. We have the oil, we have the diesel, we've got a surface retardant from the wind, then we got the curing compound. And then we had 2 bad loads, essentially. But I was able to salvage one of them. Because you know what I like to say is that you can always add water, but you just can't take it out. You know what was unusual? I stripped the sides. I didn't face the sides, I just faced this front edge. But the sides, when I stripped them the next day, there wasn't really any air bubbles in it. For a 3/4 rock and very smooth surface at about a 4-inch, 5-inch slump, it really consolidated well. It might have been due to a little bit of that roller tamp action and then me beating on it with a hammer, those little details, I guess, matter. But it turned out nice. As you can see, we covered all the basics here. Now you guys are all ready to do this by yourself or with your brother or a family friend. Anyone you know that might be willing to take a project on like this with you. But I recommend not pouring it on a windy day. That's all I can tell you. Good luck, and let me know if you need any help on any projects. 'Cause I'm just a phone call away. Also, I can do a Zoom meeting with you. Whatever it takes. I'm here for you. Good luck, and be happy.